Hey y'all, welcome to Life on Goldman Road. I've got a little bit different setup today because we are going to be canning tomatoes. Finally! I hope I have everything ready. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing back here, and I'll rearrange the camera to where you can, but I have my sink emptied and I hand washed some dishes last night, so they would be out of the way. So I'm going to put those up right quick. That way we will have space and room. We will have our tomatoes blanching, and we will also have our water bath canner coming up to temperature so we can get these in, as soon as we can. We are going to be doing what I call tomato juice. It's really essentially crushed tomatoes. We like a little bit of pulp in our tomato juice, and we don't mind the seeds. So I don't strain it. It is not a pure juice. This can be used as a crushed tomato in soups and stews and recipes and different things like that. So it's got multi-purpose. Now, these that I've already put up back here in the corner, those are crushed tomatoes as well, but I oven canned those. That is not a approved canning method, so I will be sure to cook those before consumption. We'll make sure that it all comes to a boil and everything, but these we will be able to literally pop the top on the jar and drink it. It will be shelf stable, ready to go, no problems whatsoever. So let me get everything situated. Let me get our water bath canner on the stove, our blanching pot on the stove. Now I like to use a stainless steel pot when I'm blanching, or really when I'm making any of my jellies and things like that. I like that heavy stainless steel product. So I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to get my dishes put up. I'm going to get our tomatoes. One side we're going to wash tomatoes, and the other side we're going to fill with cold ice water. So when they come out of our blanching pot, we'll be able to put right into the ice water and stop that process. Now, the quickest, easiest thing I know to get this crushed juice, we are going to be using the blender. It is the easiest thing. We put the hot tomatoes in, we pulse it a couple of times, and we have the consistency we want. This is a NutriBullet mixer or blender. So we're going to be using that today as well. Once we get it to the consistency we want, we just pour it right into the jars, pop it into the water bath. So anyway, let me get situated, ready to go, and we will finally get started on these tomatoes. All right, y'all, so as you can see, I have got my blanching boiler on, and I have got our water bath canner coming up to temperature. Hang on. All right, so we have those going. In our sink, I have our tomatoes. Let me show you what we're working with. They're pretty big, like my head and the tomato. So it's very large, but they are pretty. They're pretty. Got a couple that has some little spots in them. Not a big deal though. So what we're gonna do, and I do not have it out yet, so let me grab it. So this is easy as it gets. So here on the bottom of the tomato, that's the vine side, this is the bottom. So on this bottom side, we're taking a very sharp knife, and all we're gonna do, and I'm gonna try to show you as I do it, all we're gonna do, that's it. Instead of a Z for Zorro, we're gonna do an X right across that bottom. Now that one is ready to go in the pot of boiling water. It's not boiling yet, so we're gonna put this one off to the side for when it is ready. It is coming up to temperature. We need a bowl to transfer them from the hot boiling water into our sink, which I need to be filling up right now with cold water. So let me get that started. Cold water. Now we're going to add ice to that as well. I'm probably going to take this bowl and fill it up and pour it into this sink, because when I dump my tomatoes in there, I want them to stop cooking. So since these tomatoes are the size they are, we're probably going to blanch these about 3 minutes. Now at the end of 3 minutes, this skin is just going to slide off, and then we're going to be able to take our knife and cut this core out, and we're going to put those then into a bowl so we can put them into our blender. We will then fill our jars, add salt, add lemon juice, and go into our water bath canner for our processing time. So let's get our water up to boil. Our sink full of cold ice water. Our canner is coming up to temperature, and we've got several tomatoes to score. So we're going to get started. Our water is boiling in our blanching pot, so we're going to add our tomatoes. Now we're not going to add many at a time because our water is going to rise to the top. And I've already scored all of our tomatoes so they're ready to go in. So we're going to leave that about there, and I'm going to put our timer on for 3 minutes. And we'll see what they look like. I'm going to bring you in close for just a second. And I have a big flat kind of spoon, and it's perfect for getting the tomatoes out of the water. But we've got about a minute to go, but I want to show you this. The skin is literally just falling off. You see that? So that is exactly what we want. That's my candle. We got cheat notes on that. You know how we are. All right, so about 30 seconds still to go on this, and we're going to get these into the ice bath. Okay, our timer has gone off. We're going to get our tomatoes out of the water and into this so we can transfer it over into the sink and get our next tomatoes in. But some of these skins look like they're maybe coming off more than others. So we may, let me dump this into our water. We may have to adjust our cooking time on the blanching. Just depends. So just be careful getting your tomatoes into the pot, because you are dealing with boiling water. And you do not want that on you. I think that's good. So we're looking about 5 at a time. So let's go ahead and do our timer. Another 3 minutes. Y'all can excuse my full garbage can. We're going to be using this front one here, but I'm going to show you what this tomato, I hope you can see this, but the skins literally just fall off. Now these, they are still warm, and I really wish I was set up to where I could dehydrate these peels, and this is not probably the safest thing I could do, but we need to get that core out of that tomato, and then we're left with just tomato. We're going to put that in our bowl because that's going to be going in our blender. So we're going to work through these and just peel the skin off. And core that tomato. Now we'll also, if we run across anything that is bad, we'll go ahead and cut that off as well. This is messy. This is messy, so you know you have to deal with that to get the end product, but I'm okay with that too. And normally I cut this over my bowl, that way I'm catching all of that juice that's falling in. But we are less than a minute on our next blanching batch, so I'm going to get ready to take those out of the water. All right, y'all, we are working with 25 tomatoes. So what we're going to do, and our recipe today comes from, I want to get it right, the National Center for Home Food Preservation. I will leave the link below where I got my information. But Clarence came in with lunch, and because I was starving, he had to go get salt and mineral for the cows, so he just grabbed lunch. So I stopped for lunch, and my tomatoes have cooled down considerably. So what we're going to do is we're going to juice them. We're going to put them back on the stove to bring back to a boil, so they will be hot, because we're going to hot pack our jars. We're going to get our jars into our water bath canner. Now it came up to temperature, and yes, I turned it back down to get it off that boil. So what we're going to do, and I know they say you don't have to do this anymore, but I always like to put my jars into my water bath canner just to kind of get that hot water through them. They're clean. It's just, I don't know, it's just something I've always done. So I'm going to get our blanching pot off the stove, rinsed out, and ready for our tomatoes. We're going to bring our blender to the front. We're going to blend our tomatoes and pour back directly into our blanching pot. So let me get everything arranged, and we'll be right back. Now, before I forget, if you want to bring your jars up to temperature in your oven, you can do that as well. As long as your jars are hot, your contents are hot, going into that water bath, you shouldn't have any trouble. But you don't want that room temperature jar with your hot product going in it and then going into hot water. This jar could burst, and then you've lost all of your hard work, because this is hard work. This is messy. This is food preservation. So you don't want to lose anything that you've worked hard to get. So always, always have, if you were going to cold pack, then your jars would be cold, your food would be cold, your pressure canner or whatever would start cold. But always read your instructions really, really well, because if you're packing hot, then your jars need to be hot as well. Okay, we are ready to juice our tomatoes, finally. It's a lot of steps. And I still have to find my magnet for my lids, but you kind of have to have everything ready to go. It's one of those things. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our bowl of tomatoes, and let me tilt you down and cut my head off, but you're going to be able to see hopefully what I'm doing. Okay, and this just may be better with my hands, because these have all cooled. This one is huge. I've already cored it, but I think I'm going to break it up as I put it in the blender. All right, so what we're going to do is just fill the blender up. And like I said, we had 25 tomatoes, but it will look like nothing when we get finished, because they just go to nothing. So let me get this off. Hang tight. All right. going to be noisy, but we're going to just pulse it. All right, let's see what that looks like. It's pretty good. Now I can always do more fine as we go. So let me see if I can turn you so you can see what I'm pouring. It's a little chunky. So we may try low. See how that works. All right, we're gonna try low and see. Okay. All right, let's see what that looks like. Still a little chunky, but crushed tomatoes is fine. And Mom and Hillary's not real picky on the consistency of their tomato juice either. And she can always run it through the blender as well. Now, left in our bowl, look at all this juice. We have a lot of juice in there from these tomatoes, so we are going to definitely pour this in. All right, let's try it again. Went a tad longer that time, and I think that's good. And our pot is full, and we still have another bowl of tomatoes. So we're going to go with this right now. Slow go, but it's all going to get there. So we're going to get this back on our eye, get this. We're going to do about a medium. We're going to set this out of the way. Now, like I said, our jars are already in our water bath canner, so we can start that process if we need to. I may see if I have another boiler to do the next batch, or we may just have to do one batch at a time, and that's okay. Let me find my magnet for my lids. All right, y'all, trial and error. I went through, it didn't feel right when I started. It was too thick. So I juiced it again. And now we have beautiful juice. Beautiful juice. So these I made the other day are definitely crushed tomatoes, and that's how I'm going to label them. And this will definitely be juice, and the seeds are pretty much gone as well. Now it's a matter of just getting everything out of the way so we can start on canning. So let me get this kind of cleaned up, get brought back up to temperature, and we will start jarring everything up. Okay, I want you to see as I stir this, I honestly, there's very few seeds that I see, but when I pick up, everything but just a little bit goes back through. So, that's perfect. 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 Alright, so we're going to bring this up to temperature and start jarring. And of course, for the life of me, I cannot find my ladle. I have no idea what I've done with it, but I can use a measuring cup and it will be fine. So this is ready to go ahead and put in our jars. So let's get out a jar. We're going to do one at a time. We are probably going to have to empty some of our jars because I had to fill them with water to make them sink into the water bath canner. So you can see them down in there. So I know we're not going to need all that water. So probably when I lift a jar out, I'm going to take it to the sink and empty that jar. So let us get started. We'll see how it goes. And I know these are all new jars, but you always, like I've told you in the past, you always want to look at the rims of the jars to make sure they are good and okay. Stir this, turn it down just a little bit. Now this is where I tend to get in a hurry because we've got to add our lemon juice and our salt to our jars. So I always want to put the lid on and go, go, go. But you cannot do that. And we can leave a 1/2 inch headspace in these jars. There's a fly bothering me. Right, there's an inch. And that should be about a 1/2 inch. And it has foam. That's okay. That's okay. All right. We're going to move this jar back and get our next jar. I'm going to continue on filling these jars until this pot is empty. So let's get the rest going.
we're going to add lemon juice. We have 2 tablespoons measuring spoon for lemon juice, and we have 1 teaspoon measuring spoon for salt. So let's add that to each jar. Okay, and our salt. I'm going to do it in first. That way we're making sure we know it's a little full, but it's all on top of this one. So I think it's gonna, but just make sure we know to put our lemon juice and salt in first. So we're going to pour it out, look at it, and wipe each other rinse.
Okay, did that. I don't think we got anything on the rings as we put it in there, but just to be on the safe side. That's always a good idea to wipe your jars. And we're going to put these on finger tight. Oh, they're hot. And these rings will loosen in the process. So it's always good when you take them out of the water bath to tighten your, just kind of tighten finger tight again on your rings. Okay, so we are gonna set these down in here and get ready for our next batch. And you can see they're already starting to separate, but that's okay. That is just the liquid and that tomato. So that is perfectly normal right there. Okay. Now in our canner, we want about a 1-inch overlay of water over our jars because we're going to bring those up to a boil, and we're going to be doing those for 40 minutes. So we definitely want to have enough water in our canner. All right, I'm going to bring the tomatoes up just a little bit. We'll let this get hot and we'll start on our next jars. Now I turned the heat up on our canner because we want it to come to a boil, but we are ready to do our next jar. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our teaspoon of salt. And I only have these 3 jars left and my canner is full, so we're doing what we can do. All right, there it is. Lemon juice going in. Now, just in case I got anything that top, because I did not use my funnel. Okay. Let's give it a swirl. And we're going to add it to our jars. Now I don't really have enough. I may have one more jar. So what I'm going to do, this is coming up to temperature. Once this starts boiling, we're going to time it for 40 minutes. But I don't have room in here. So what I'm going to do is make a jar and just stick it in the fridge. So that's what we'll do there. No biggie. I have a jar back here. probably gonna let this cool, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, our canner is at a boil, so we are gonna time for 40 minutes. Hope for the best. All right. 40 minutes later, they are done. I'm kind of just letting them come to acclimate out in the room. I didn't want to take them. I left them in the canner until it stopped boiling. It's all fine. They're sitting now above the water line. Everything I can still see inside. Everything is super, super hot. But we're going to go ahead and take them out and put them on our mat. Let them finish cooling. I've got to go to the chicken house. Clarence called and I have a backup. You can see it is separated, but that is okay. A little shake, shake, and it will be good to go. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7 quarts, and then I got the one that's 3/4 full that we're going to stick in the fridge. Actually, I think I'm going to take it to Hillary and Mama and let them try it. It'll give them something to do this afternoon. Hillary may be doing a perm. She had a client at the barber shop this afternoon. But there we are. 7 processed tomato juice. We can turn this off now. I thought I did. I guess I just stopped my microwave timer. But anyway, now we wait on pings and let cool for 24 hours here on the counter. All right, y'all, that's it. It is a process, but it is so well worth it. If you want to learn how to can, you can do it. They do step-by-step instructions online. You can find YouTube videos. I taught myself back in 2012, I think it was. I don't like to pressure can. I'm terrified of a stovetop pressure canner. Never been around one. My mom didn't use one as I was growing up. I had pressure canned one time, and I was terrified the entire time. It went fine. Everything was fine, but it did not help my fears. So, I have not pressure canned since. It's been a while. Probably, I'll tell you, it was boiled peanuts. So it's probably been since, I don't know, 2020 maybe? I would love an electric pressure canner. I think I would utilize that a lot better. But anyway, we processed tomato juice. So, I appreciate you coming along, hanging out, watching me do this. Hopefully you'll try it. That's what this is all about. Try it. If you don't like tomatoes, try jelly. Try making jelly. Get stuff on those shelves that you eat. That's the main thing. Don't make all this effort, and don't learn the process. But don't waste your time on things that you're not going to eat. Does that make sense? One of the YouTube creators on here, she is the world's worst to say, eat what you store what you eat. That's true. With anything. You're not going to go to the grocery store and buy it. Don't learn how to preserve it at home. But if this is something you're interested in, there are tons of videos out there. And now this one is included in that. But step out of your comfort zone. And I say that to say that I'm terrified of pressure canning, but it is what it is. So anyway, I got to get to the chicken house and pick up eggs, but I appreciate you hanging out. I really, really do. So until next time, I'll see you later.